So we're going to be talking about comparing two criminal justice systems. And first thing I want to talk about is the American justice system. Two questions we can ask ourselves is, why do we have a criminal justice system? Why do we have a college introductory course in criminal justice? And you could define crime as wrong committed against society, which has been proclaimed by law, and when the action is committed in certain circumstances, it is punishable by society as a whole. So there's a consensus model and a conflict model. The consensus model deals with majority agreement. People gather as a group, forming society together, agree to what is right and wrong. The conflict model deals with larger society, diverse segments of society, different value systems / norms, and consistent struggle between separated segments. The purpose of the criminal justice system: control crime, prevent crime, provide and maintain justice. How does the system control crime? It arrests, prosecutes, and punishes. How does the system try to prevent crime? Harsh punishment prevents others from committing a similar crime. How does the system provide and maintain justice? Fairness, and all people are equal before the law. The system structure: federalism, local level, crime is a local problem. Well, the law enforcement, of course, on all levels, and they have their own structure. Each one of the local, state, and federal all have their own structure. The courts, which is a dual court system, meaning federal or state courts. The federal is the district, circuit, appellate, and supreme. State is trial, intermediate, appellate, and supreme. And corrections is state prison, local prison, and federal prisons. Probation, strict sentences, incarceration, community corrections, and parole. TV versus reality. The reality: informal versus formal process of justice. Formal, the ideal; informal, the reality. Why? Discretion. 3 main reasons fair use: resources not available to focus on every case, remove pressures, time constraint, cut down legal caseloads. The wedding cake model. The wedding cake basically is like a model of the justice and how what is at the top. Basically felony and misdemeanor. So at the very top is the cases, the celebrated cases. Then comes the high profile felonies, then the ordinary felonies, and then the misdemeanors. And more than 75% of police arrests, non-serious and non-violent. Moving down, crimes occur more frequently. So, due process versus crime control. The battle between the two models: crime control, punish and stop criminal conduct, the most important function, and is conservative. Due process protects the right of accused through legal constraints on police courts and corrections. The rule is fairness should be the ultimate goal. The models swing back and forth depending upon the national mood. In the 50s and 60s, Warren Court. The late 70s and 80s, get tough movement. The types of crime. Crimes separated based on seriousness. Violent crime against people, murder, sexual assault, and robbery are all examples. Property, most common form. Goal is economic gain. Shoplifting, theft without force. Public order crime. Public values and more. Public intoxication, gambling, and victimless. White collar crime. Business world, economic, personal, business, advancements. Example: embezzlement. Organized crime used through business facilities and employees to commit illegal acts. High-tech crime. Latest type to emerge: cyber crimes getting worse. The cyber crimes is the crime that is getting worse. So the next crime we're going to talk about the Philippine criminal justice system. look inside the justice system for the Philippines. First, the system asserts the idea of deterrence, the notion that the threat of sanctions can prevent crimes by creating fear or punishment for those who might break the law. Second, the system adheres on the principles of retribution, the idea that criminal offenders deserve to suffer for the harm they have done, and their punishment should be proportionate to the harm inflicted. And third, the system supports on the notion of behavioral charge, which proposes that criminal sanctions should aim to reform convicted criminal offenders so that they will stay away from crime in the future. Prosecution. Within the Philippine legal context, prosecution plays a crucial role in the administration of criminal justice because it occupies a central and very important position between police and the court. In criminal action, it is a proceeding instituted and carried on by due course of law before a competent tribunal for the purpose of determining the guilt or innocence of a person charged with a crime. It is a course of action or process whereby accusations are brought before a court of justice to determine the innocence or guilt, and it refers to either the processing criminal justice system or a party in criminal proceeding. Prosecution continues. The party in the criminal proceeding who instituted the criminal action is called the prosecution. The party against whom the criminal action was instituted is called the defense. In all criminal prosecutions, the real offended party is the people of the Philippines, for the crime is an outrage against, and its vindication is in favor of the people in sovereign states. This, all criminal cases are cited to the people of the Philippines versus the name of the accused. The division of the Philippine law. Substantive law, a law that creates the right and obligations of persons, define their status, governs their relations, and confers their powers upon them. Objective law. It is a part of the law that governs the prosecution and defense of actions involving the enforcement of rights and obligations. Public law deals principally with the powers, rights, and obligations of the state. Private law deals with the individual, his or her rights and trespassing, and his or her affair. International law, governing relations between state and sovereign entities, between states and international organizations of state. Municipal law, the entire body of law enacted by jurisdictions and applied in that jurisdiction. The Philippine National Police. The PNP is the primary law enforcement agency of the country, which is of national scope and civilian in character. It was activated on January 29, 1991, under Section 23, Chapter 3 of RA 6975, entitled An Act Establishing the Philippine National Police under a reorganized Department of the Interior and Local Government. It was constituted from the full merger of the former PC and the INP with the Police Director General Caesar as the first chief. As but not least, the importance of the coordination among the five pillars. It should now be evident that the Philippine criminal justice system is not just the agencies charged with law enforcement, not just the prosecution arms of the government, nor just the courts, nor just the correction system, nor just community. The criminal justice system is all the pillars considered collectively. So also it should now be obvious that for an effective criminal justice system to work speedily, it is essential for all these five pillars to work with the dispatch in full coordination with each other. Any perceived failure of the criminal justice system, in particular given case due to some deficiency in one pillar, cannot be blamed upon any other pillars. And the five pillars of the criminal justice system consider law enforcement, prosecution, the courts, corrections, and community. That is the end of comparing two criminal justice systems. Thank you, and that's it.